Walters, Brett Grasso from the Brian Gunzel Studios, one in Sayville, one in Sunnyside. We are almost at the end of the rope with the baseball season. The Dodgers have won the pennant for the second straight season. The Mariners and Blue Jays will play game 6, 3-2. Mariners with the lead there, and Ohtani may have had the greatest game in the history of baseball. Brett, what's up?
What is going on? I could not believe it.
Playing the last time I talked to you.
No, that's not true. We did something. I think we did something like
Yankees.
we just did
the
it,
Yankees
actually,
lost.
to be honest with you. No, we did a little bit. No, we did something since that you missed. Yeah, you're missing one. But no, honestly, that game, once he had the 10 strikeouts and had the 2 home runs, I already thought that. Like, I was already. Plus, if you saw that, I believe it was the first home run off the roof and out of the park.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He's hitting them out of the ballpark.
Monstrous. Yeah. First of all, who throws 3 pitches that someone like that Ohtani can possibly do that in a if we lose we get swept situation?
Yeah, because they were like in the inner half
2.
to the lefty. They were like inner half.
Like, come on, like you just don't give him anything. You give him the judge.
Listen, he's Babe Ruth, right? He's Babe Ruth.
I understand bases loaded. I understand other situations, like maybe if he's got nobody on, that is kind of scenario where, but you never go after him. You just hope you put him on base.
Well, he hit a leadoff home run. He was.
Okay.
Let me read you the quick.
I get that.
He hit a leadoff home run, so leading off the game, okay. But he does that a lot. He does that a lot. And Ohtani, he has. They listed 13 things that maybe this is the greatest game in the history of baseball ever, and like it might be, really might be. He's the first player to hit a lead off the bottom of the first inning with a home run, becoming the first pitcher to hit a leadoff home run in any MLB game. Okay, Ohtani went on to hit another home run in the 4th inning. He became the first pitcher with multiple home runs in a postseason game. He's got 6+ scoreless innings, allowing 2 hits and striking out 10 batters and hitting 3 home runs. I mean, it's Reggie Jackson's game, but it's also like the greatest pitching game performance you've ever seen. He's Babe Ruth, and he's better than Babe Ruth. Like, he's not going to hit 700 home runs because he's not really around for it. He's not going to be around, right? How old is Ohtani?
I think he's like 29 or 30.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to hit so he's not getting 700 because he had a career over in Japan.
No, right, but not as long as like some of those other ones where it was like Ichiro was already there for an entire career by the time he came over, whereas Ohtani was, just really on the rise and making his thing. So, but you're right, it is the greatest thing since Babe Ruth. You'll never be able to compare anybody to Babe Ruth because he was outclassing everybody that wasn't even like touching it, whereas Ohtani is just doing the thing that a lot of people, and there's a lot of guys who I truly believe would be able to be that type of player in terms of being able to pitch and being able to hit. Neither one could probably do either one well, let alone do one well, like real well. And
yeah, because I don't think Babe Ruth was this type of pitcher.
No, he was, but and that's why I say let's not compare it because the hitters he were facing, it was like me or you. But we decided we'd try baseball instead. They weren't quite the same in that level. Babe Ruth wasn't. The greats were great, but the average player wasn't, the same. So it's hard to compare because Babe Ruth is a god that created something that said it was possible. But I think Ohtani's doing the same thing and showing this whole new generation that if you can do both. And the Mets actually have a guy who's just did this recently. He converted from being both to being specifically a pitcher last year, and that's Nolan McLean. Not a great average hitter, hit a lot of bombs. Yeah,
I mean, you're talking this guy's MVPs, though. This guy's an MVP without being a pitcher.
No. That's what I kind of mean is I don't know if anybody will be able to dominate it both, and just over and over, and post surgeries too, pre-surgery, post-surgery.
He's not even and I hate to even say it like this, but he's not even an American. Like Babe Ruth is now being knocked off the pedestal by this guy from Japan coming over playing our game, and he's the greatest thing ever. I mean, I didn't believe when I had Tim Brown on the show, the National Baseball writer and stuff, and he said to me that I asked him straight up, is Shohei Ohtani better than Babe Ruth? He said Shohei Ohtani is the best baseball player in history. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. And he is. Yes. He is. Like, it is. Like, it's out of control now.
But that's almost like saying to me, it's like, can a player be better than Michael Jordan? Yes. But nobody will ever eclipse Michael Jordan.
Yeah, he's not Babe Ruth, because Babe Ruth is now like folklore, and it happened 100 years ago.
Like, you can be better. It evolves. The sport evolves.
He is better. He's better. Listen, if Babe Ruth was playing, he might not even be in the big leagues.
Exactly, but it doesn't mean that you can eclipse something that someone has done that's so legendary from a time that it's not even in someone's brain that it could be done. If it's never been done before to hit that many home runs, like Babe Ruth is still at a point showing up and just like, it's never been done, but watch, this is possible. And that's
the Babe Ruth people will bring up the fact that he hit more home runs than any team in the league. So
you can never, ever compare their postseason stats, because you know why what happened with Babe Ruth? He went directly to the World Series, and they were so good that they swept the teams half the time.
Yeah,
so
well, they went directly to the World Series until the 70s. In the 70s,
he has postseasons that were consisted of 4 games, and they won the World Series. So it's very different when it comes to if he had more availability. Imagine what he would have done in those other scenarios.
Babe Ruth wouldn't make the team this year. Like the way he was, Babe Ruth. You just fast forward him into the future. He wouldn't make the team.
You put him on like you put Tiger Woods on the Ryder Cup. Like, you're like, we're going to do it anyway.
Well, because you can sell tickets and stuff.
Yeah. You know it's going to hurt you, but, you got to have the debate.
Does Babe Ruth hit like 150?
And Ohtani's the one who made the pick. It's like a nod. Like, yes.
Does Babe Ruth hit 150? Like in today's game?
No, I honestly think
he'd probably be all right?
It's so funny. If you just said dropped him in a time capsule in the batter's box,
he plays with his bat and everything. He wants to play with his bat.
It's a different thing. That he would never survive 5 minutes just because it wouldn't exist. But if you gave that guy if he
gave him a year to get together, get his stuff together.
Yeah, just the Earth in general, like the 2025 in general at first, and then baseball. Like, I think you'd have a shot.
If you dropped him in there, he'd hit 150. He'd be in like an 0 for 30 slump right off the bat.
No, it's Babe Ruth right away. The drugs and alcohol we have today, the availability, all the things that were illegal are legal now. What do you think he'd be like? He wouldn't make it to the ballpark day one.
No, he'd be like what's his name? The guy from the Texas Rangers that wasn't allowed to carry any cash and
Oh, Josh Hamilton.
Josh Hamilton. He'd be like Josh Hamilton, who just dropped off the face of the earth. It was like 1 MVP.
I'd be a little more concerned that he turns into like a Tyler Skaggs, but that's
Yeah, I mean, he was alcoholic, but they were alcoholics that could when they're 25. If you put prime Babe Ruth in 2025, does he hit 25 home runs?
Yeah, I want to say yes.
I say no.
Let's move that up.
Were they throwing it 100 miles an hour?
How about, what happens with Mickey Mantle? You think it's that different?
I think Mickey Mantle will probably hit. Mickey Mantle would be good. He might not win batting titles.
He wouldn't be that different. Like, hitters would be hitters. Like, if you put Nolan Ryan anywhere, he's good.
50 years after Babe Ruth. Like, Babe Ruth was in the 20s.
Yeah. But, you turned around, and I did this. Oh, so funny. I did this comparison when it came to the Parks. But, same thing. If you put Mickey Mantle in Babe Ruth's era, how many home runs does he hit? Who hits more home runs that year?
Mickey Mantle, I think. What if you put Pete Alonso on the 27 on the Brooklyn Dodgers, right? I think he hits 65 home runs.
I think you're right. But
I think so.
No, but what you're missing, Bob, is he's also going to get hit in the head 12 times and probably killed.
Yeah, he might, and they'll be like, "What?
No,
what's
it's
this
a
helmet
different world.
Wearing?"
It's a different world, and so that's the tough part is half the time it's because you might get killed in that box, and nobody can. It was a different. I'm telling you, it was a different era. So you're taking only to adjust. You're telling me I don't know. I wish I could really see what a game was like.
Yeah,
we don't have video.
You don't really know. You don't really know.
I'd love to know what the actual what players were like to the ump. I'd love to see the real footage of what, and I know they have some of it, but there's no audio. There's no real background to it.
They do have games that you can watch the game, but it's not good footage. To me, and I don't know, I could be way off on this. To me, I think if you start Cy Young tomorrow, he doesn't get out of the third inning and he gives up 6 runs.
I think if they should get the analytics, you know how they can no, Bob, you can compare now. Like if you just take the footage of how fast was that fastball, how hard did that break? What's the comparison of
that's
how
what I'm
good
saying.
were these guys?
Were they throwing that fast?
I'd love to see they should really be comparing but even how fast Babe Ruth's swing is, and would it be able to compete in today?
They should be able to do that.
Yeah, but how slow were these guys throwing? Was Babe Ruth how many of his home runs were hit off a 58 mile an hour, 70 mile an hour fastball?
I can throw 50, but how many? And also they pitched Ferguson Jenkins pitched 25 complete games, right? The human body has not changed in 100 years.
The best. Bob, that's the best scenario.
In 50 years, the human body has not changed, right? It's the same thing. It's the same ligaments, everything. He's throwing 20. There's no way he's throwing 100 miles an hour at 27 straight complete games.
I think that would be the best people to bring up is the rubber arms from previous generations and dropping them. What would they be like in today's
They'd be
society?
like Max Scherzer when they come to pick him out, take him out of the game in the third inning. And where was that? Yeah. By the way, Max Scherzer, where the hell was that 2 years ago when I'm sitting in the upper deck at Citi Field and he's giving up 7 runs, and the third inning on my $150 tickets, I'm perusing the team store. Pissed me off. We'll get to that in a minute. But as far as this series goes, listen, I was disappointed in Milwaukee, right? They didn't get anything going. They scored no runs.
The Babe Ruth 27 series?
Yeah,
the Babe Ruth 27 series?
The Babe Ruth against the Milwaukee Brewers.
The
pitching was just as good as anything for the Dodgers.
Bob, do you know how uncompetitive this series was? At the end of it, they win. The Dodgers barely even slapped 5 at the end. They didn't even do anything. They were just cool. Thanks.
The Dodgers are so good. They have guys who are superstars in the minor leagues, and then they're like, "We'll bring you out. You go down there and figure it out. We'll bring you up in the postseason."
Yeah, no, they had. I watched their interviews after the games in Mookie, and they didn't care. They weren't even they were not even concerned. They are built for the postseason. They didn't even win the division. This team is just nuts. And if Ohtani can go and put performances and forget about the home runs, just pitches like that, they're going to be very hard to beat if you get in 2 of those in a World Series. There's 2 losses.
I think Toronto could beat them. Now, Yelich, I think the big thing with the Brewers, and the Brewers were the best team all year. And since May, the Brewers were the best team in baseball.
Oh, yeah.
And then Yelich couldn't hit a lick. He's getting a little bit older. I think Yelich is getting older.
Chourio got hurt bad. You saw him in that one at bat where he fully cramped up and his leg turned into he had to leave the game.
But they just couldn't score. I mean, they couldn't get anything. They scored 1 run. They scored 5 runs the whole series.
And in their series prior in the NLDS, they just went out and were absolutely annihilating the ball, and they were jumping out in front and not giving up leads, and that's and the bats were coming around, and they just weren't there. They were overmatched clearly. You can't even be overmanaged or outmanaged or any of that because the game was they weren't even. They never started to be games. They were never games at any point. And right from the first inning, I believe.
But they were games. I mean, it was 3-1 the other night, right? What was last night's score?
Didn't feel like games, did they? They didn't feel like you. You know what I mean? You watch enough baseball in your life, and whether you be the manager or a player or a person watching, you know when a game's competitive or not competitive, and you know when you're watching competitive baseball. Very rarely in the postseason are you watching any teams play another team where it's just not competitive.
And now on the other end, when you got the ALCS. This is a weird series, right? You got Toronto, who goes in and loses games 1 and 2 at home. Seattle has they have the driver's seat. Going home up 2-0. You basically just have to win. You say you want to win 1, but in the series where it's 2-3-2, which I hate, by the way, hate it. I think you got to be 2-2-1-1-1. I hate the 2-3-2, but that's a point for another day. They're down 2-0. So Toronto loses. They lose the first 2 games. Then they come back. They win games 3 and 4. So now you're even. So now last night, I think what happened was that was a game that Seattle had to win. They had to win because you're not going to Toronto and winning 2 and winning 2 games 6 and 7 in Toronto. It's just not going to happen. I think that the Kyle Raleigh home run. So I think Toronto's still in the driver's seat. I think they got their 2 games at home coming up. They're down 3-2. They're in good shape, but you got to win these games because I think Seattle gets swept by the Dodgers or 5 games. They don't have the firepower.
I don't agree. I think Cal Raleigh, and you go into Dodger Stadium, and home runs are being hit these days. I know it wasn't always that way there, but. I think that either team could be competitive. Maybe you're right that Toronto, that they have what it takes, and I believe like that and the pitching's good. I want to see a game 7 out of this. I think we're going to get a game 7 out of this.
I think you get it.
It's going to be. I don't hate it. It really does. You need to be favored. You need to get those games at home for 6 and 7.
Well, that's the problem. The problem is the 2-3-2. It sucks because if you're the team,
but I feel like you've earned that 6 and 7 at home. I don't know why. Like you're right. Maybe it is better 1-1-1. You know they're not going to do whatever because of travel.
Because here's the deal. The team like the team that's not the home field advantage. It doesn't have 6 and 7 at home. They have to win all 3 games at home. But they obviously Seattle didn't have to do that because they stole the first 2. But they basically ended up that way. You have to go back with a 3-2 lead. You have to. You're not winning 6 and 7. Any team almost. You on the road 6 and 7 backs against the wall. You're not winning those games.
No, you're right.
You need to go back 3-2, and you can't really win the series at home, right? You can only you have to win it in 4 or 5.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I hate it. I hate it.
We watched it last year with the Mets, and we were at Game 5 where they forced the game for the Mets to go back to L.A. to go force Game 6.
Yeah, and the Mets would never winning 6 and 7 in L.A.
No, I know, and that's the thing is, it was like we knew very much that it was and they were throwing a bullpen game at us.
We want to get this taken care of here. We want to win our game at home and don't let them celebrate on Citi Field.
But if we can, but they didn't even pull it that way. They said, we'll throw a bullpen game at you, and we're still going to win because we're trying to set up a rotation for the
Mets
postseason.
Went like 7-1 in the third inning, and then they almost blew it.
They were thinking about the World Series when we were trying to figure out, that we're going to throw out a guy, Senga, who hasn't pitched in the whole year to go through. So it was really...
in that game, if Alonso was in a 3-run homer in the first inning, who knows how it ends up. Because remember, that's where up 7-1, and people even behind us are sitting there going, oh, we got to make Diaz ready. I'm like, you're up 7-1. What are we worried about here? And it got closer.
You see why. But that Seattle game last night, you then look at, who you said Cal Raleigh, I mean, a guy with now, I think he's up to his 64th home run of the season. But the guy who they had traded for at the deadline coming through huge, a guy who the Mets had every right to go grab, who could have very well fit in at third base and hit a bunch of home runs prior, and that's Eugenio Suarez. He hit a home run earlier in the game, and then that's a grand slam that just pretty much closed the door right there and made it where Seattle's going to go up in this series heading back to Toronto. I don't know, man. Like those are the guys who the Mets decided to rely on, Vientos and Beatty and whoever at third, and to hold on to our prospects. But Seattle went out and got him, and he could have done nothing up until this point. That home run right there, and if you saw him come back in that dugout, I've never seen a player more like grateful.
Oh yeah, I mean, he just hit a home. Was it a grand slam?
No, he was like in tears. I know, and it's one of those Seattle ones where the seismometer was going off.
Yeah,
and it hit it on the Richter scale.
Oh, it's one of those deals.
Shaking.
And I want to root for Seattle. It sucks because I want to root for Seattle, but I don't think they can beat. I don't think they can compete with the Dodgers. I think the Blue Jays can. And what did you think about Scherzer the other night? Listen, it was great, right? That's the Scherzer. That's the last gasp of Scherzer's career, right? He came. That's why he's a Hall of Famer. Those are Hall of Famers right there. He went out. He hasn't pitched in forever. He went out there in a big spot, a must-win, and he just gave them 5. And that wasn't great. He didn't pitch great. He gave 2 runs in 5 and 2/3. So it wasn't like the greatest thing ever. But he fucking battled, and he cursed out the manager, get the hell back in the dugout.
Fuck yeah.
It was that right there. That is a Hall of Famer, and that's the kind of performance like a great pitcher does at the end of his career. And I liked it. I was pissed that it didn't come from the Mets, but he did it.
That's not what we got for the Mets, and that's not why. We got all of that, but we got a guy with the lat injury guy and the guy with all the other stuff that was going on.
Whereas that emotion either in that game.
But it's like but it was like a guy whose brain always works, and because when you don't have it, and you don't have it, it's over. Like those guys work on not just because they're adrenaline junkies, because they're that fired up. They're actually that good, and when you're not that good and you don't have it, it's gone. And then he knew it, man. That was a rough one. Let me tell you.
I was sitting up there by myself too at the game. It was 7-0.
And
I'm pissed.
when you look back now at the Mets trading Scherzer, being whereas they had him, and not that they would have continued to have him after, but are you still happy that the Mets traded Scherzer when they did and picked up? I believe they got Acuna.
Definitely. Yeah, he was no good. He was no good.
No, but to have him, would you want to have Scherzer on your team this year with those three guys coming up?
He didn't do anything this year. No, because he didn't do anything this year.
No, you can say not doing anything this year. He ate innings and he was there. And does he have now he's part of it? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Does a guy like that serve a purpose outside of?
Yes, it was. His purpose was that game the other night, and
that's part of the reason they brought him in. Part of the reason they brought him in was for that, to change the culture.
Because he's an all-time great. You figure, okay, he's the end of his career. He doesn't have the stuff anymore. It's the end of his career. He's an all-time great. Can he go out there and be great one more time? It's the equivalent of Dodgers down 3-2 in the World Series next series, and they go to Kershaw. They go, we need you for 5 innings tonight. Can you go out there and give us? And he gives them 5 innings, 3 runs. Not a great game. I'm sure he didn't pitch great, right? He gave 2 runs, 5 innings. It was nothing like unbelievable. But he got the big outs when he needed to. He was emotional. He knew the pitches to throw. So and it was good. It was good to watch.
So basically, it's like every baseball movie where they bring in the old
Kevin
guy.
Costner comes in. He's an old man.
He's got one pitch left in him. Nuke. Or you got. You got kind of Little Big League. I don't know which
Little Big League where his arm goes back to normal.
Gary Busey. Is it? So you're ready to
play in the Yankees. His arm goes out against that big guy, and he throws him like the lob balls. He throws it underhand. He throws it underhand. It was his mother.
Prejudge.
That guy's supposed to be like Mattingly, I think.
Right? No.
Wait, Little Big League's the Cubs, right? Little Big League's the Cubs.
Little Big League's the Cubs.
Or is that the rookie?
Gary Busey.
Or is the rookie the Cubs?
Rookie of the year. That's rookie of the year.
Is that the Cubs? One's the Cubs, one's the Twins. One's the Cubs, one's the Twins.
Yeah. One's the Twins.
The Cubs Gary is the kid has the arm.
Gary Busey's the Cubs. Yes. But he's the guy I'm thinking. I'm not thinking of the kid. I'm thinking of Gary Busey. You know, they got one pitch
he's the
left
manager,
in him.
Gary Busey, right?
No, he was. No, there's one.
Oh, he was the old pitcher. No, yeah, he was the old pitcher. You're right.
He's the last pitcher, and he's hooking up with mom. He's banging.
He's hooking up with mom. Yeah, he's banging the mom. That's right.
And he was like, it was a good deal. Yeah, that's Scherzer.
But listen, I would love to see Seattle because that I think the bigger home run than the Grand Slam was the Kyle Raleigh. And to me, Kyle Raleigh, this feels like and not with the steroids thing, but it feels like a Brady Anderson type of thing. Like he's never going to do this again. So just give the MVP.
Tough for a catcher to be consistent like that. So I don't know. First of all, the fact that you said that they have no chance versus the Dodgers means I'm definitely putting some money on the Mariners to run this.
I did a show about the Giants yesterday, and I said, you know what, I'm going to pick. I picked the Giants. I picked the
But let me tell you,
the Broncos.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. No, but let me tell you, this series, and they said that the Dodgers-Brewers series may have a large impact. I don't know how large, but and also with the winner of this series may have an impact on kind of is there a possibility of a strike or a lockout? Because it was like, small team versus big team. If the Dodgers just go run the table right here and just take everything, just go on, and it's the big markets, and no matter what, nobody else can win. The owners or whoever may say, there should be a salary cap. And
players aren't going to give up a salary cap because the Dodgers won the World Series.
Players would never in a million years go for a salary cap.
No, of course
that happens. Never. And if the owners say no matter what, there has to be a cap, and players say no chance, then you're either looking at a lockout or a strike.
But the bigger thing is the owners, they make so much money on these TV deals. Like, it's not like they don't need a salary cap.
They're going to squeeze. Yeah, but they are going to squeeze for every extra
you
penny
they can. Like, the players, that's the union. That's the strongest union in America. Any union.
Yes, it is. And that's why I say they're going to stand firm. But they're going to. That's the problem. It's going to be a strike. I believe they're talking strike, and I listen. People a lot smarter than me in baseball. Jeff Passon's they are talking that if it does go to that far where it starts not in a strike, they're talking it could be a year. And I've heard even people say, don't be surprised if that happens. It stretches into year 2. And if that happens, that is horrific, not just for baseball, But personally, I just am going to be upset. So honestly, it's just that I'm just going to be
What
pissed
are we going
off
to talk about all summer? What are we going to talk about all summer?
Forget about all summer. We're talking about leading up to the spring. Like the spring
and
like when it's dead winter. May. No, but it's dead when it's dead winter and it's like it finally getting a little nice out. You're like, you finally got something to talk about. And if we're talking about strikes and lockouts and not about who there's so many other factors. Just really quickly.
Can't talk about the Rangers, Brett. They haven't scored a goal in 3 days, three games at home.
Well, forget that. But Bob, what does this mean? Like for teams who already have a big salary, what if there is one? You're going to grandfather them in?
No, it would be. I don't know. It's not going to happen. It's like they'll never give it up.
Okay.
The players will tank the sport before they give it up. I think they would. I think they tank the sport, and the owners are eventually. Neither side's going to tank the sport. But if they cancel a whole year,
they've done it before.
When did the NFL become the big sport overtaking football, biggest sport in America, where it overtakes everything? It went right around the '94 strike. Right around there. Because before that, football's big, but it wasn't what it is now. Nothing beats football now. Football's like, NBA, we're gonna throw games on Christmas, and NBA's like, oh no, why are you doing that? Nothing beats the NFL. So, and I think it was right around that strike.
No, it's something that I think but at the same time, you go tell a billionaire to blink, they're not going to blink. They don't care.
They don't care.
These guys got money and
time. They don't need the money either.
But players are on a clock. You know what? Because then it also takes a certain number of people in that union to sign off. And a bunch of those players, they may only have 1 year left or 2 years left or 3 years left. There's not many guys who have that many more than that.
Yeah, but that union is historically the union is stuck together.
I know. But that union sticks together depending on who's saying yes or no. And
they had replacement players, right? They had replacement players. Rick Reed.
Well, yeah, the scabs we call them, Bob.
Scabs. You're right, they are scabs.
And I don't think that and I think that was a big part of actually what tarnished it even further was that.
The NFL did replacement players too, though. The NFL did the same thing.
I know.
The NFL did the same thing, replacement players.
I don't know.
The game sucks. I think the game sucks. It sucks with the
NFL's got a lot more leeway because they're growing as opposed to baseball, who is very stagnant and has to hold on to fans. And when you lose them, you never get them back. You know where they go?
You think that's true? You think that's true? You'd never get them back? I think people came back. They might not come back. Younger
generation.
McGuire, Sosa.
No, I believe it's people who weren't baseball fans yet that you never got. And there's a whole generation that you missed from a year or two that you don't realize that never got. And that's what because those magical moments happen every year. And there's a whole generation that's the exact age that we were when it really imprinted on us that there was no baseball that happened.
That was our age, though. I mean, what was that, 94, the strike?
But you saw how much it crippled us, and we turned to other sports, probably that we normally wouldn't have.
I don't know. I think we were going to those Rick Reed games and pitching in the replacement game.
You are right. You are right. We were.
But they don't need us. They have us. We're not the issue. Me and you are not the issue.
No, you're right. But it did screw. Yankee fans. You know how many Yankee fans that was going to be their first World Series and so long.
No, the Expos were going to win. The Expos were going to win.
No, it was Expos Yankees in first place at the time it happened, and the Yankees were like really good. And that was Mattingly and all. And,
it was Mattingly. It was going to be his shining moment. And then '95, they was when the Griffey scored from first around third.
Yeah, and then he retires, and then Jeter shows up, and all the rest is misery.
And now Jeter's criticizing the Yankees on the air, and Cashman's calling him up and saying, "What are you talking about?" Jeter said that he thinks the front office. Jeter said that on the air, and A-Rod agreed with him that he thinks the front office is in too deep in the Yankees, and they're making the lineups. And he thinks it's ridiculous. And Cashman called up Jeter and A-Rod personally and was like, yo, what the hell, guys? What are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about. You're not in this thing. And Jeter's like, well, you know what? I said what I meant. And like there's a little rift there between the Yankees and Jeter.
They're saying the exact same thing that everybody across the airwaves have been saying in New York all season for every game. And just today that my friend Ryan here going, same thing. And that's Boone is just a pawn, and he is just being told what to do.
Cashman said that he's never sent down the front. Anybody but Boone has never made the lineup. Besides Boone.
That's no. They told him he had to. You talk about who physically wrote the names in. Oh, that's a nice little catch-22 there, Cashman. Good for you. Who wrote it in as opposed to who told him what to write? No, I get it. No, I never did it.
I'm just saying. That's what he said. And he's pissed at Jeter. Yeah. And he's like, you know what? And he even said, maybe he made comments like, just because they were great players for this organization doesn't mean they're always right in what they say. And like it seems like it's a little,
the more what happens.
It's a little friction there.
The more upset a guy like Cashman, who should not be upset about anything, it shows me the more truth there probably is to it. And especially for a guy who, I think he feels the hot seat for the first time in his whole career. And the funny part is they're not even going to get rid of him.
No, of course not. They would have got rid of him already.
Not. No, but I think he feels it a little more that it's like he knows that there is a day where you get too old and you go, and he knows he needs to win that World Series to live that lifetime Yankee GM. He needs one more, you know what I mean? If he hit it, like if they win the World Series last year and whatever happens next with that, he is all of a sudden probably there for the next 10 to 20, whatever health he's got. Whereas he could be out in the next 3-4.
I mean, yeah, eventually they're gonna get. But you can't fire these guys when they go into the.
No, but they last.
Want Boone out forever, but I don't know who you're gonna get. Like, do you think that's better? They don't want anybody like Boone. They don't want. They're not hiring young. They're hiring young kids that'll go with what they say.
That is the entire point of what Jeter and A-Rod said, and it's because the fact that you have Boone, they don't want anybody else. Somebody else is going to question us. The last thing they want is somebody else. They have the perfect guy who does exactly what they want, when they want it, and there you go. And he can be the scapegoat. So it's just perfect for them. Another guy is going to call him out in the media, and they don't know, and they'd be nervous that in that first press conference, he's like, I would, but I didn't make the lineup.
Yeah, but it's risky going after Jeter. But he's going after Jeter. Like, that's risky. A-Rod, you can go after A-Rod a little bit.
That's why it's true.
Going after Jeter there's a ballsy
That's
move.
why I feel like it actually shows that he doesn't feel safe for the first time in his career.
Maybe. So that's it. So who you got, Brad? We going 7? We going 6? Who wins? I got Toronto in 7.
No, this game goes 7. Gosh, I want to say you're right, and based on the fact that it's in Toronto and everything that's going on,
they haven't won one yet.
No, I don't. I actually think Cal Raleigh just hits 2 bombs, carries this team, and they go on to actually be competitive versus the Dodgers. I think that they actually put up a fight versus the Dodgers, and they will have home field.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, you're right. And so it's Logan Gilbert, 1-0 with a 2.45 ERA in the postseason. Going up against Trey Yesavage for the Blue Jays. It's a game 6.
Yesavage, oh no, let me tell you. That's I think we're going 7 with this game. I put some money on Toronto. And put it this way. And this one to Ryan Vasey, who came over today. We watched 2 Blue Jays fighting in my yard today, and instantly his wife Kathy turns and goes, probably a good sign for the Blue Jays. So it just so you know,
good sign. They fighting
Blue Jays.
So okay,
that means they got some fighting them. They still got some fighting them.
8 o'clock tomorrow. I hate that Fox buries this thing on FS1 too. By the way, come on. I'm looking all over for it. I can't even find it on FS1.
Suffolk County, 213. Just good luck, everybody.
400 here in the city.
My father's calling me up at work, going, "How do I find the game?"
I couldn't find it. I've been on TBS.
How do I find the game?
I couldn't find it. I'm like, what is this? I mean, I'm like FS2, FS1. Come on, Fox. If you're gonna pay this much, but put it on Fox, right? Put up 5. Give me a break. No, so that's it. Well, we got the Dodgers waiting in the Fall Classic. It's either gonna be the Blue Jays. It's either gonna be the Mariners. I think the Blue Jays give them a better chance, but either way, Dodgers heavy favorite. So that's it for Brett Grasso. I'm Bob Walters. Enjoy the game, everybody. See ya.